Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. I am here I'm actually really excited to be doing this interview with the amazing Jaz Greer because I've been following Jaz for quite a long time and he is an absolute legend in his space. He's helped so many businesses, myself included, with their marketing strategy, their social media strategy. And I like that you help businesses to kind of think outside the box a bit and you help them to kind of think about what's not the ordinary kind of thing. Like, for example, using Facebook groups, that's a big thing that a lot of people they're not too sure about, like how to basically monetize Facebook groups.
Right.
But
Yeah.
how long have you been doing social media for, and like how did you get into it?
I've been doing it for quite some time, but I just stumbled into it. It wasn't intentional, because my background is business management consultancy, business advice, and all the IT, the tech side was a bit of a hobby, you know. Blokes being geeky and things like that. And whenever it started to do a lot more work, probably about 9, 10 years ago with small businesses, the intention was to help them with business planning, marketing planning, all of that stuff. But really, people kept saying, well, we see you on LinkedIn, we see you on Twitter, how do you do this? So what became a bit of a sideline hobby was actually the point that businesses want to engage, to the point now that most of my work, probably 90-95%, is around the social selling, social media, strategic work. But I embed all the business development, business advice into it. So it's about 9-10 years, and I stumbled into it.
Wow, it's amazing. Very well experienced then.
Yes. I've
So
been
you
working for over 25 years in business development, direct sales, marketing, all of that. So yes, a lot of experience.
And how do you use that as part of your business today? Because obviously, I think social media and business development, they really go hand in hand, don't they?
Absolutely. The thing is that over the years, as new technology has come out, and by that I mean websites, email, um, it's still all about basic communication. So you just adopt the new tools. So as new platforms come out, things like this, live video, etc., you adopt it and adapt it, but it's still basic communication. So it's all about telling people what you've got to tell them, make that connection, build a relationship, and then the sales side, Rahini, is not really what people think, because if you build a relationship, it naturally will happen. So but that, out of all of that journey, I've just adapted that, but sticking to business principles, core communication principles, and it works.
Guys, welcome to the stream. If you've got any questions for Jaz, feel free to type them in the comments and I will be sure to ask him. He is such a knowledgeable person when it comes to business development and just helping businesses grow in general through their online strategy. So, Jaz, people often kind of come to me and say, like, what platform should I use for what particular purpose? I mean, like, how do you differentiate that for a business for them to decide like what platforms they should be on and what they shouldn't be on?
The first thing is you've got to know who it is that you need to reach. Who are the people? So that's either business to consumer or business to business, but who is your ideal client? Who's your target audience? Who are your target markets? Once you understand who those people are, you then understand where they are and where to engage with them. So many businesses make the mistake of going onto all platforms without thinking about where is my ideal client, my audience, and where are they on social media. Because you could put a post out, Rahini, on Instagram, and you might have 100 people follow you on Instagram, the same 100 on Facebook. And on Instagram, you might have 75 people that engage with it, but on Facebook, you might only have 10 out of the 100 exactly the same people. And it's all about understanding your target audience, your ideal client, their habits, what they prefer, and then you go and meet them on the platform of their choice. And that's where you get the reach and the engagement when you take that approach.
So is it fair to say that when it comes to engagement or views or people having eyes on your content, that quality is better than quantity?
Absolutely. It used to be people were talking about their follower counts. That's
Yeah.
meaningless, absolutely meaningless. You could get more engagement and better quality interaction with 100 followers than somebody that had 10,000 followers. So it's all about quality. You're quite correct. Your content has got to be educating people. It's got to be adding value. It's not got to be salesy. It's just got to be informing, educating people, building up the relationship. And if you post the right content on the right platforms, you will attract the right customer and the right business.
So you touched on this before that about engagement, but how can somebody boost their engagement on their social media, even if it is a dead social platform or a dead social media page? How can they boost that?
Um, it goes back to what I was saying. You've got to be knowing who it is you want to reach. And what I teach people, especially in social selling, is that there's a principle that you can only work with up to 150 people at once, Rahini. More than that, you can't cope with it. And those dynamics apply to different group settings and institutions. But what I encourage people to do and show them how to do it is build a list of start off with 50 people that you want to do business with. If you then engage with those people's posts, if you start to interact with them, and then once you get interaction and engagement going there, then you add another 50 and another 50, and you work with up to 150 people and be proactive. You make the approach. Don't sit and wait for them to find your content. Then you will get great engagement, but also from that, because you're engaging with them, the algorithms on the platforms will see all the interaction and get you reach into their networks, and that's where you get the real return on investment.
That seems quite time consuming as well. I mean, is it safe to say that when you're doing your social media strategy, you do have to invest a significant amount of time into doing it?
You do, absolutely. And this is why so many people fail to get results. And a
Mm.
lots of people say social media doesn't work for me. No, social media, you get out of it what you put into it. And if you are just posting all over the place, scattergun approach, not targeted, you'll get very little return. If you go down the road, as I've just said, about being targeted, then you will get a real return on your investment. But it does take time. That does take time.
Mm.
But time is the investment that you put into it, and you get out what you put in, Rahini. So if you stick to putting the time in a targeted fashion, then you will see real return and get business from social media.
Absolutely. I mean, from my experience, the the length of time between when it takes to for a business to get their return on investment can completely vary. I mean, I've known some businesses to get their return on investment with their marketing strategy within a day, and some businesses within a few months to a year. I mean, is there a way that businesses can kind of speed up the process to get their return on investment, or is it a case of kind of being consistent with it and just being a bit patient with it?
Being smart with it,
Oh, I
that is
like
the
that.
key. Being smart. You
Mm.
don't have to work hard, you just have to work smart with it. And one of the things that people don't realize is the importance of data within any business. Now, we talk about data, people think of these big CRM systems and 50,000 contacts and things.
Mm.
No, if you actually think about when you go networking, as an example, you pick up business cards, you connect with people on LinkedIn, you have contacts in your phone, you'll have email addresses, a mailing list in one way or another. If you actually take that data that you already have and start connecting with people, building your network, so long as they're the right connections, and start to build a foundation on that, that data will actually speed up the process of you getting a return on your investment in using social media properly.
Ah, amazing, very insightful. Guys, I just want to welcome you all to the stream. For those of you who don't know, this is the legendary Jaz Greer. Jaz has been working with social media and business development for a number of years now, and I've been following him for quite some time. Mindu, welcome to the stream. So Mindu is a network marketer, absolutely fantastic what she does. Zushan, welcome to the stream. He is also involved in the lead generation business as well. We actually did an interview with him last week as well, so definitely worth catching that because he dropped some absolute golden nuggets. So Mindu,
Yeah.
you asked for an example. Did Jaz cover your example for you? Also, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments and Jaz will be happy to answer them for you as well. He is so knowledgeable when it comes to social media and strategies, but also the psychology behind buying as well on social media. I mean, talk a bit about that, Jaz, because when we're sitting in front of a screen, it's obviously different to when we're doing business face to face, isn't it?
Yes, it is different, and there are different techniques that you have to employ, especially when you're posting on social media, you can't see people's reactions. So, what you have to do is you have to get into the psyche, the
Yeah.
mind of the person that you want to engage on social media. You've got to understand, when do they use it? What platforms do they prefer? What content engages them? How do they want to be interacted with? So there is a lot of psychology, Rahini, to it. And it's all about understanding your ideal client, understanding your target market. And this brings in what we talk about in sales, about pain points, challenges. You've got to be able to understand what the challenges are for people, what are the problems that they've got, and you've got to be, through your interaction, your content, you've got to be speaking about the solutions that you can bring. You've got to educate people about how you can help alleviate that pain, help them with the challenge, with the problem, how you can add value to them. So yes, there's a lot of psychology involved in it, and a lot of times you've just got to do a bit of trial and error. And this is why it's very important to monitor, measure what's working, what's not working, with what you're posting on social media, because when you look at your analytics, it will tell you if the content is engaging, if it's not engaging. Drop what's not engaging, do more of what is engaging, is getting a response. So yes, that's the psychology, just some of it, behind what you've got to do in terms of social media.
That kind of brings me on to my next question. So we've touched on the fact that people need to like add value to their current market. But does that mean that every single post has to be a post about how your particular product or service can help them? Or can it be a bit humorous? Can it be a bit lighthearted? Because I've seen some companies that have posted content that's completely non-related to their business at all. But the reason that
Yeah.
they've done that is because they know that that's what their target market is interested in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you have to just experiment with the mix. However, what I would throw in at this stage is there's a lot of people who are teaching social media about, you should be sharing other people's content, you should be
Mm.
sharing blogs, you should be having motivational quotes, all the rest of it. Well, just think about when you are on social media, you're busy running your business, you don't have a lot of time. What is it that grabs your attention, and what do you really want to consume? And that's what you need to be posting. So I say to people, don't bother sharing other people's content. Don't bother sharing links, etc. Because all you're doing is creating more noise for people to get through in their timeline. And that's why it's better to post not salesy content, but posts that educate people, that are light-hearted, but they get the message across to make that connection with people, because people do not have time to read 500, 1,000, 1,500 word blogs.
Yeah.
People want things in bite size. And if you can do content and create it in a way, and that's why like live video is brilliant, isn't it? And video in general, because you can get across in 15 seconds, 30, 60 seconds, even in 5 minutes, you can get a lot of value, education, knowledge across to people. And that is how people want to consume now. They want to get to the point. They just want to hear what they need to hear. And then they'll come to you if they need anything else.
Totally agree. I mean, Minday's just making the comment saying, I feel like people engage with her much more when she's just herself on her posts, and it's that thing of authenticity and just being completely yourself. So, and Minda, I love your posts. Some of them really make me laugh in the morning as well. But she's also just asked, what's the best way to reach a dozen countries, especially when you don't speak the language?
Yes, that's an interesting one. I think with the advances of AI, with the various social media platforms now in terms of translation, because I get it a lot on LinkedIn, something will be in German or it'll be in Spanish, and it offers you the translation. I think that's great, and that helps us to reach more of a global audience. So I think the technology is there. I think you have to be careful what you post about local culture and not to offend people. So I think in terms of posting, it's better to use visual more than text, and use video, especially not necessarily talking heads and subtitle, but using images and text that then can be translated. And one of the techniques that a lot of people use is what text appears in the video, they actually copy that into the body of the post itself, which means then that the translation of that post is possible, and people tie up, even if it's in English in the video, they can then get a translation of it in their own language.
Oh, that's interesting. But what about if somebody wants to advertise, say, in a different country? Like, would there be, obviously there's going to be a slight language barrier there, but what if they just want to have mass engagement all over the world, but they don't speak the language? What would you advise for them?
I would go back to what I said right at the beginning. Who is it you're targeting? Because you can't be all things to all people.
It's true.
So in real social selling, social media engagement, it's all about niche rather than trying to conquer the world. So I think if you are looking strategically at who you should be reaching, engaging with, who you can serve best, then I don't think these issues really come up as much. I would say that if you're going too wide, you're going to have those issues. But if you're niche, then you will find ways to overcome the language barrier by focusing on your target audience.
Very interesting. Yeah, I totally agree that niching down and getting to know your audience is definitely, it's a massive bonus, because if you don't know who you're targeting, you just, it's kind of like throwing mud at a wall and kind of hoping that something sticks.
Yes. Yeah.
But each social media platform, it has its own individual target audience, right? So
Yes.
talk to us about the target market on each social media platform so that people who are watching this, maybe even on the replay, can know that they're targeting the right age group on the right platform.
Right. Okay. Well, let's start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn has really got no age barriers, but you are really looking at 18 to your 65, the working age group. And LinkedIn is best suited to anyone who wants to do business to business. It's not necessarily business to consumer. However, if you were a garage that did body work, scratches on cars, paint work, then LinkedIn may work for you because not only are you targeting consumers, but business people have got cars, they need your service. But it's predominantly business to business. Facebook, Facebook again is your 18 to whatever age group, and it's extremely varied. You can find probably 80% of your target market on Facebook because it's so varied. The thing about Facebook is though that people don't just sit all the time watching timelines. Most people are using it in terms of communities like groups now. So Facebook for business, you need to be looking for your target audience in thematic groups, geographic groups on Facebook. Get involved there, engage with your audience in there in conversation. That's where you find the nuggets of business, not just posting to the timeline in this day and age. Instagram, that's a bit of a hit and miss one because it's getting a lot of people saying you should be on it, you should be on it. However, unless you are really visual or you can do videos, a lot of the stuff on Instagram doesn't really work for people. And the issue is that unlike with Facebook, where you can post your link in to your post that people can click and go and get information, etc., and move them along your sales funnel, your sales process. On Instagram, you have to go back to the profile to get the link, and that's extremely difficult. So it's more of a viewing platform. And now you find that really 18 to about 45 age group is pretty dominant on Instagram. But again, if you do ads, Facebook ads, you can do Instagram ads. It's brilliant if you want to sell things on it. So those are the three main ones. But there's one, Rohini, which a lot of people don't talk about, but is actually the third biggest search engine in the world, is the biggest driver of traffic, and it's unique to other platforms because it actually encourages you to post external links. Whereas other platforms penalize your reach, you actually get rewarded for external links, and that is Pinterest. And Pinterest is one of the biggest platforms for driving traffic to your website, for engagement, for sales. And since the lockdown, it's just gone through the roof. But very few people use it, and it's brilliant for SEO. Google loves it. So on there, predominantly, it's females that are active on the platform. But it's a great place. People go there to search for products, solutions. My wife's never off it. If something happens, oh, we can do this. So now it's an in joke with the kids. It's like, oh, so you find that on Pinterest? Yeah, I did. But it's a brilliant platform.
I was going to say, because I heard that Pinterest is the platform that people go to if they want to get new ideas for something. Is that their niche?
Yes, and that's why it is really more. It's classed as the third biggest search engine. You've got Google, you've got YouTube, owned by Google, and then you've got Pinterest. So people go to Pinterest to look for things before they'll go to Google. So it's absolutely brilliant. And if you want to get more traffic, if you want to increase your search engine optimization benefit, if you want to get lots of people consuming your content, then Pinterest is where your interest needs to be.
So That's amazing content, actually, because I did not know that as well. And yeah, Zishan has just asked, should companies or influencers focus on one platform, or can they start growing on all platforms? Mindo, I know that you asked about LinkedIn as well, so I'm going to get to your comment in a little bit.
Yeah. Um, the thing is, it's all down to time, and it goes back to the very beginning about your strategy, who you want to reach. And I find nowadays that if you're on LinkedIn, they're actually about 90% of LinkedIn users are active on Facebook. If you
Right.
stick to LinkedIn and Facebook, you'll do most of your business through those two platforms. If you start adding in other platforms, you've got to think about the additional time for content, shaping it for each of those platforms individually. So it's all a matter of time. It's better to stick to one or two platforms and really, master those and dominate those in the positive way, and that is better for your business than trying to move to other platforms, every other platform that comes out, because you just water down your effectiveness. So it's better, as we talked about social media, to niche down. Exactly the same with platforms. Have one or two platforms that take up 80-90% of your time. Other platforms like Google My Business, you've got to be on, you need to be posting purely for search engine optimization value. So you need 80% of your time on one or two platforms maximum, and then the other 20% just doing what you need for SEO and
Yeah.
maintaining what you need, really.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of SEO, that ties in with Google as well.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the only social media platform apart from Pinterest, which I found out today, that is LinkedIn is also directly linked to your SEO. And if you basically post consistently on LinkedIn using hashtags, that can also boost your SEO rankings. So Mindy was also asking about LinkedIn as well. So
Okay.
let's talk about LinkedIn strategies, because some people love LinkedIn pages, they love LinkedIn groups. Other people hate them. Some people love getting messages from complete strangers saying, "Hey, do you want to buy my service?" And other people like myself, I don't mind getting a direct message saying, "Do you want to buy my service?"
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is there a really strong LinkedIn strategy that you could recommend to people, or like LinkedIn tips and tricks?
Yes. LinkedIn, you've got to primarily remember it is a business to business directory and platform. So it has to really be about business. And what really annoys people is when you've got posts that you have to look and think, am I on LinkedIn or Facebook here? So when you post on LinkedIn, remember it's about business. So be professional. It doesn't mean you can't be humorous or be yourself, of course, but you have to adopt the same um, professionalism and remember it's a business to business platform. The second thing about LinkedIn is it is your network for your business, and your net worth equals your network. And you need to invest in the network that you build on LinkedIn, because that is where you get the value. That determines whether you've got a long sales cycle, short sales cycle, whether you get a return on investment or not. So your net worth in business is always your network. And LinkedIn, you've got to pay attention. Don't just accept connection requests from everybody, because you then pollute your network with people that you'll never do business with, will never help you grow your business, and will be a drain on you. So the first thing is pay attention to who you accept invitations from. And secondly, don't go and just go and try to connect with everybody, because that really annoys people, because it's like spamming. What you need to do in LinkedIn is you need to draw up a list of the types of people that you want to engage with, that you think you can do business with, that will help your business. You then need to each day take 10 people off your list. First thing in the morning, most people go and visit those profiles. Let people know you're visiting the profile. Look under the activity section and see what posts those people have put out, articles they've written. Start to like them, comment on them, engage. And when they start to send signals back to you by liking your comment on their post, maybe commenting back, etc., when you get those signals, then you know there's some interest, there's a connection, there's some possibility here. So that's when you send your personalized connection request to them, and always personalize it. Put a little note with the connection request saying, I've enjoyed your content. I think, it'd be good to have you in my network. I'd love to engage more, etc., etc. Send that, and you'll find more people who will then give you a positive response, connect with you. And that's the start, Rohini, of the real connecting and building relationship on LinkedIn. It's not about all the bells and whistles. It's not about Boolean search and all of these fancy things that people try to throw into workshops and all. It's pure and simple. Identify the people that you want to have and build a quality network with, engage with them, and then connect with them, build a relationship. And those are the basic success factors of using LinkedIn.
Amazing. Guys, I just want to welcome you all to the stream. So for those of you who don't know, this is Jaz Greer, an absolute legend when it comes to business development, marketing online as well, because he understands like the buying psychology as well, and he understands not only the technical side of social media, but also like the fluffy side of social media as well. So I actually, because I'm using software, I actually can't see who's watching this. I'd love to know if you're watching this. Drop a comment or leave your favorite emoji in the comments, just so I know that you're watching this as well. But also, if you're getting value from this post with what Jaz is sharing as well, feel free to share it as well. Tag a friend in it that you think would actually gain some value from it. Shaquille, welcome to the stream. So Shaquille has just commented saying, just going back through the comments, saying he thought Pinterest was for showcasing fancy watches and shoes.
Is that why he's always got a new watch and a new pair of shoes every broadcast?
Maybe. We've also commented saying, but LinkedIn is really changing a lot and the purists are getting distressed. However, I don't want to see cats and dogs in dinners.
Indeed.
What goes back to what you said before about like LinkedIn being a bit more of a professional space where people don't want to see something so casual. They want to see something that's going to not only add value to them, to maybe to their mindset, but also with their business as well, right?
Yeah, and it's all about time, Rohini. People don't have time to consume stuff which they don't feel is important to their goal, their mission in business. But just on that about what you see in your feed, in a post, if you look in the top right hand corner, you've got 3 little dots, and if you click on that, you can actually say, I don't want to see this in my feed, and that trains the algorithm that you're not interested in that content. So then your feed becomes more relevant because LinkedIn wants to serve up posts that are of interest to you and of value to you. So you have to do a little bit of helping the algorithm to know what to put in your feed and what not. The other thing as well, if you visit 10 people a day off your 150 list that I talked about, each day you're sending a signal when you look at that profile, interact with that person's posts to the algorithm to say, I want to hear more from this person. This is the type of content, the type of person I want to see in my feed. So you can actually influence what you see by what you teach the algorithm. So there are a couple of ways there that you can improve the quality of what you see in your feed.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that as well. And I know Facebook are very, very hot on algorithm. I mean, all social media platforms are as well, because
Yes.
they want to tailor your user experience, right?
Yeah.
But is
Yeah.
there a way to sort of reverse the content? So let's say, for example, you've been posting spammy content or content that you maybe you're not too proud of, but now you've realized that you actually want to change your marketing strategy a little bit, but potentially people have already unfollowed you. Is there a way to get those followers back, or is it just a case of finding new followers and re-engaging in new posts?
Unless you, so on, let's look at LinkedIn. If
Mm,
somebody unconnects from you, unfollows you, you don't know about it. The only way you would know is you can go into LinkedIn and download all of your connections.
mm,
And if you do that every month, you can look back through your spreadsheets, a .csv file, and you can look at the people who are no longer connected with you. And if you needed to, you could reach out to them and try and establish a connection again. And the best way to do that is go visit their profile, interact with their posts, and then reach out to them again with another connection request. The thing is, it depends. If you have moved on in your business, if you are changing your strategy, then potentially those people who have unfollowed you were never your ideal clients
yeah.
audience anyway. So potentially you don't really need to go and do that. I would focus more on the direction of the business, what you can add value to people, create excellent content, and go and find a new audience that you can build a new relationship with, and they don't have any baggage or any barriers from what you may or may not posted in the past.
I like that word baggage. I like how you
Baggage,
described that as well. But
yeah.
Sam has just asked the questions. Say, as a wedding photographer, your target group is 25 to 30, as in the age group. How
Mhm.
would you use Facebook or Instagram to draw them in further?
Right. Okay. Again, my way of using social media, which is the social selling way, is to
Mm,
be proactive and not sit and wait for people to come to my posts. Um, and it's exactly the same difference, Rahini, between Facebook ads and Google ads. With Google ads, you're waiting for somebody to put in that search term, which will bring up that Google ad into the search results. So
mm,
you're sitting waiting for business to come your way. With Facebook ads, you're actually putting your ad in front of people that you think will want to engage with that ad to do business with you. So it's proactive. Now, if we
mm,
look at that proactive way of using social media, I would be looking, again, Facebook, I'd be looking for groups, not just about weddings, but groups that you could get into. Could be geographical groups, but actually go there and start posting and engaging. Be proactive, and you'll get more people coming to your page, etc., through that, rather than just posting on the timeline. With Instagram, you're allowed up to 30 hashtags per post. Make sure you use 30 hashtags. Mix it geographic, thematic, aspirational ones like, my dream wedding, my big day, etc. And do some research on hashtags as to what people are using on the like of Instagram, and use ones that people are searching and following. And if you do that and be more proactive that way, then you'll draw in. If you go fishing looking for 25 to 30-year-olds that want to get married, if you go and fish in those places, you'll catch them. If you just post, you just you're throwing a line into the Pacific Ocean, hoping that you'll find somebody there. So you've got to be proactive and use the tools of hashtags and groups and those two platforms. And hashtags, again, are being used on Facebook, so you can do that as well as on Instagram. But be proactive. Go to where you know your
mm.
audience is going to hang out in the groups, and use the right hashtags, and you'll start to draw them in.
Speaking of groups as well, so there's quite a few people that are watching this that have also got their own business groups as well. And so how can a business owner monetize either a LinkedIn group that they've set up or a Facebook group that they've set up? Is it a case of kind of posting value-based content and then waiting for your ideal customer to contact you to buy? Or is there a strategy to help them to buy through your group?
The best way is to have a free group, first of all. So for me, and if anybody wants to join it, if you look on Facebook for Zero Budget Marketing, it's a group that I run. It's free, and that's where I post tips, tools, etc. for people. But what you need to do is you need to build up your community first, and you can only do that by adding value and give free lives, interviews like this, etc. Once you get to the stage where you have got a good community built up, you've got a following, and you know that people want more of what you have. And in this day and age, Rahini, you cannot monetize knowledge. Knowledge is given away free because it's easily accessible. People take the time, they can find out whatever they want to find out. What you sell nowadays and you monetize is the how to, it's the strategy, it's the techniques of how you get leads from social media, etc., not about the free knowledge. So when you get to that stage, then the best thing to look at is setting up a membership system. And if you set it up through your website or whatever, and you get people subscribing, it's 50 quid a month, and this is what we do, and these are the benefits. Through that, you then give people access to your closed group, which is for the membership. And really, LinkedIn, I wouldn't bother with groups because they're pretty dead. I would stick to Facebook at this moment, but you give access to the membership to that group. And then if they leave the membership, then you take them out of the group. And that's the best and most solid way to monetize your group.
It's kind of like building a virtual sales funnel, really, isn't it? You're taking your customer from one process to the next, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Shakil's just commented saying, I've heard using more than a few hashtags can cause Facebook to suppress your post as spam. I've seen some hashtags list longer than the content they're posting. Do you know if that's true?
Yes, it is true. And the one reason that it happens that people are not aware of is when you go onto Instagram, when you go into your settings, you can take that whatever you post on Instagram, it will automatically post it on Facebook because it's both owned by the same company. Never do that. Go and untick that box, because all that will happen is you then get the same post with 30 hashtags on Instagram showing up in your Facebook feed, and Facebook doesn't really like hashtags. It doesn't really promote them. And that's correct. It will suppress your reach. It's also very lazy doing that because people do it from Instagram to Facebook to LinkedIn, and there's nothing worse. That will suppress your reach. It's got to be the right format for the post on each platform. With hashtags, just coming back to something you mentioned earlier, with LinkedIn, hashtags are very big on LinkedIn now. But on LinkedIn, if you use more than 4 hashtags per post, and this is from LinkedIn itself, it will suppress your reach. The algorithm will penalize you. So you don't use any more than about 4 hashtags, and don't make up hashtags. It's not Instagram. What you need to do is you need to go into search on LinkedIn, put in the hashtag you want to use, and see how many people are following it. And if it's just you or nobody, don't bother. What you want to do is find on LinkedIn the hashtags that people are using. So for me, hashtag digital marketing has got hundreds of thousands. In fact, it's got well over 1 million, I'm sure, last count, of people that are following that hashtag. The ones that follow it are only a fraction of those that use it, because not everybody follows it. But if I'm restricted to 3 or 4 hashtags, I want to have hashtags in there that have got big following. That increases my chance of getting my post showing up in the search results of others and other people's feeds that follow that hashtag.
But how does somebody know if a hashtag is popular on any platform and when it's not popular?
Yes, if you just do a Google search, hashtags on Instagram, hashtags on Twitter, there are quite a few free apps and things out there for your phone, but you can find it through Google on the browser, and you can just go to sites and it shows you. It keeps a bit like the music top 50, top 10 charts of what's being used on the platform. So that's quite easy to find out. On the like of LinkedIn, go to search on LinkedIn, put in the hashtags that you think are associated with your business that you want to use, and just do some research on it, and you will find out how many people follow it. And what you also find is on LinkedIn, often down the left-hand side of the desktop screen, it will actually bring up some hashtags, the popular ones. And when you construct a post, it can often bring up, when you put in the hashtag, it brings up suggested ones as you type. And that's exactly the same as on Instagram. When you start putting in hashtags, it'll start to suggest the most popular ones relevant to that post and theme.
Skills has just also asked another question. Should you click to follow tags on LinkedIn?
Tags are definitely an excellent bonus on LinkedIn. And what it is using it within your strategy to find people that you can then connect with to build your network. So if you see a post and somebody has tagged in 20 people, then the chances are that the theme or the content of that post the subject is something that those people would have an interest in, and you may have an interest in. So it's a great way, clicking on the tags and posts, to find out about those people, and that's how you can connect with more people that are relevant to build your network and your business.
Interesting.
So yes, click away, does no harm.
Amazing. So guys, I think that's all about we've got enough time for today. Jaz, if somebody has a question about social media, or they want you to have a look at their social media, first of all, just tell people what you can do for them.
Well, my specialism is that I don't focus on teaching people the bells and whistles of platforms. I teach people how to develop a strategy of building the right network for their business, how to reach and engage the right connections for their business, how to develop content that attracts, educates, and nurtures those people into their sales funnel. And fourthly, I teach people how to close the sale on social media. So if people want to look at their strategy, if they want to invest their time and resources in working with me to get a return on investment for their digital marketing, then those are the 4 areas that I specialize in and get results for my clients.
Amazing. And where can people find you and connect with you?
On LinkedIn, it's Jaz Greer, as it is just on here. The same for Twitter, the same for Instagram, and the same for Facebook. But if you want to find out some more things that I talk about, you can look on Facebook for the Zero Budget Marketing Facebook group. And I'd love to have you as part of that community as well.
Amazing. Guys, I'm also a part of that Facebook group as well. It's really, really worth joining because the nuggets that Jazz drops in that group is so helpful. And I love that people like you, they actually keep on top of the trends as well of what's happening next in social media. And you're not afraid to actually share that with people as well, because social media is constantly changing. And as a business owner, it can be exhausting to keep up with it, right? But luckily we've got people like you to help us out.
Good. Happy to serve.
No worries, guys. If you've got any questions about social media, feel free to ask Jazz. I'm Rohini from Livewire Media. Jazz, do you want to say anything before we go?
Just thank you for the opportunity. And if I can help anybody, always happy to chat.
Take care, guys. Have a great evening.